Today there are two things I want to talk about. So first of all, there's this article by Amaury, who, for those of you who don't know, although I bet most people watching this video know who he is, but he's the lead developer of Bitcoin ABC. He wrote the code that would become Bitcoin Cash. So he's a very important sort of person in the Bitcoin Cash world. And he's someone who I take very seriously. So when Amaury writes an article about Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash, I immediately read the article. So I read this article last night, California time, and so it's called On Markets and Pre-Consensus. And basically what the article says is that Amaury regards making ZeroConf better as a top priority for Bitcoin Cash. And so he's going to focus on that. And he feels like there's a bunch of reasons why he wasn't able to put much time into that over the past year. But he's decided to, let me find the quote in here. Somewhere he says something to the effect of, he's going to relentlessly prioritize, ruthlessly prioritize pre-consensus. So the other subtle detail here is he's not just trying to improve ZeroConf, he has a particular way to do it, which is pre-consensus. Now in this particular article, he does not define what is pre-consensus. He says something like, it's just not, there's like one paragraph in here, but it's very high level and doesn't really explain what he means by pre-consensus. And it does not use the word avalanche, but as I said in a video, I think last week, based on what I can tell from mumblings around, I think Bitcoin ABC is interested in Avalanche. And Avalanche is this protocol by, I forget what there's like Team Rocket or something like that is the pseudonymous name of the group that I think involves Emin Gün Sirer and some other people who are anonymous. But they have a protocol which is actually not that complicated. I read it, I'll have to reread it again, but the basic idea is something like you just sort of ask around and see like what do other people think about this transaction. If everybody agrees, and everybody agrees, there's no problem. And then if everybody doesn't agree, well then there's a problem and then it's unresolved. But you could resolve that with proof of work. Now, I'm speculating. Amaury did not actually say Avalanche anywhere in this article. So I think that he's probably, let's just assume that he's researching pre-consensus somehow. Well, this sounds great to me. I regard ZeroConf as being definitely, I would say I'm probably exactly on the same page as Amaury on this with respect to where this is in the list of priorities. ZeroConf, improving ZeroConf is really important. ZeroConf actually works really well on Bitcoin Cash right now. But it's also true that Bitcoin Cash is kind of small, and if it got bigger, people have more of a reason to start exploiting the situation on Bitcoin Cash right now, which is actually ZeroConf isn't really all that good right now. You could, like if you were just trying to be, a jerk, you could try to double spend every single transaction that you sent on Bitcoin Cash using an algorithm that I gave in a previous video, but in a nutshell, just broadcast two conflicting transactions from opposite sides of the planet. There's a 50% probability of a double spend, basically. So you could double spend a large fraction of the time if you wanted to. Now, this matters a lot. First of all, I think it just matters in general for like money. It also happens to matter for my company, yours.org and MoneyButton. We use and rely on ZeroConf. The whole thing would be like way worse if we couldn't use ZeroConf. So it's very important to our business that we have a good answer to ZeroConf. And right now our answer is not good enough, and that's why I sketched out a solution for how we're going to improve ZeroConf without needing anybody else to do anything. We basically need to have a stronger connection to the network to basically look for double spends is pretty much what we have to do. And we can decrease the probability of allowing double spends sort of way, way, way lower. We can't get around malicious miners, but currently there aren't malicious miners that I'm aware of, at least not with any significant hash power. So what we can do is we can decrease the probability of a double spend to probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 1% or less, assuming people are even trying, without any changes at all to anything. That said, it's still better if we can make it even lower. It'd be better if there are other mechanisms to improve ZeroConf. So I fully support Amaury's sort of opinion about prioritizing this issue and working on it. Details aside, because I have no idea what the details are. He didn't say any details in this article. He's never said that in any public way that I've seen. So it may or may not be Avalanche, or who knows. I have no idea. I don't know. Now, meanwhile, unfortunately, there's a bit of Twitter drama that I wake up to this morning because Craig made it very public, Craig Wright, made it very public that he does not like pre-consensus. I'm very unique, I think, in the Bitcoin Cash world in that I actually take all of these people seriously. I take Amaury seriously, and I take Craig seriously. And when I watched drama earlier this year between Craig and Emin Gunsayer and Peter Risen, I'm shaking my head going, guys, you don't need to argue with each other over these things. Like, just let's stop fighting in the community. So I think I'm unique in that I'm currently not in a fight with any of these people, and I'm going to try and keep it that way. I actually respect all of these people. I respect Craig and I respect Amaury, and I take them both seriously. And if they hate each other, I actually don't care. I still respect both of them and take both of their opinions seriously. So with all that being said, you know, look, Craig doesn't like pre-consensus, but I'm not even really sure what pre-consensus is. So I'm fully in favor of researching and working on and improving ZeroConf. And I'm interested in pre-consensus as an idea. And it sounds like a candidate idea to me. I'll also say I couldn't find it right now, but maybe I'll be able to find it before I post this video, that I actually asked Craig on Twitter from the Money Button Twitter account, like, what does he think is better? And he said Bayesian probability theory. Now, this also sounds equally good to me. I'm a former scientist. I actually studied Bayesian probability theory a good deal and used it a good deal in my research when I was a scientist. I'm certainly in favor of using Bayesian probability theory for stuff. I do not currently see any conflict between using Bayesian probability theory and using an additional pre-consensus protocol. If anything, I would see them as being compatible, because in order to do some Bayesian analysis, what are you doing the Bayesian analysis on? You got to have some information. And if you have a different protocol that's a pre-consensus protocol, you could actually factor that into your Bayesian probability theory analysis. So it would actually be something like, what's the probability of a double spend? That's what you want to know. And you want that probability to be low enough for it to make business sense. And so you put together a Bayesian probability theory computation. You draw a Bayes theorem, and you think about what is all the information you have, and you rewrite the equation so that it accounts for all that information. And having a pre-consensus signal would be one of those pieces of information that you have that you plug into that giant equation, to get a probability. So they sound compatible to me. Also, Craig didn't specify the details of what he thinks belongs in the Bayesian probability theory calculation. So I'm going to do the best I can to stay out of the drama here and continue to take ideas from all these sides seriously. There isn't even a concrete proposal on the table here. So in any case, I fully support, at a moral level, Amaury's decision to focus on ZeroConf. Sounds good to me, man. I look forward to seeing, the work that comes out of that. And meanwhile, I also take InChain's opinion seriously, and I will be researching and studying and reading or whatever, everything that comes out of InChain on this issue as well. And then on another business note, Yours Inc. is always and everywhere going to do whatever is in the best interest of this company. And InChain is one of the shareholders in this company, but they're also a minor shareholder. That is to say, they own less than 50%. So it's not like we're owned by InChain. Okay, they're one of the owners, but there are other owners too, and that includes myself, includes my former co-founder Clemens Lade, includes Bitmain, and includes a number of other investors. We actually have something like 20 or so total investors. So it's all those people. So we're just going to do whatever's in the best interest of our company. So, we'll see how this plays out. Right now, there's no decision to be made. There's no concrete proposal. We'll see. Okay, so anyway, I want to move on to the next subject, which is there's an article by Cindy Daly. Actually, her name's Cindy Wing, I think. But her username on yours is Cindy Daly. So she has an article called BCH Smart Contract is Coming, Wormhole Protocol Proposed by Bitmain Developers, Part 2. So this is the second article translated from Chinese that actually answers some of the questions, including my top question about what is Wormhole. So first of all, to summarize some of the previous conversation here, the other subject besides ZeroConf and Bitcoin Cash that matters a lot right now is tokens. And the question is, how do we do tokens on Bitcoin Cash? Or in some people's mind, it's whether we do them, but I don't think the whether is even a question at all. I think it's a matter of how at this point. I think tokens are definitely going to happen. It's more a question of how is it going to happen, technically and economically. So this article about Wormhole answers a few questions. So first of all, it answers my top question, which is what is the deal with the Wormhole coin? And so here's the deal. For some of the operations on Wormhole, and remember that Wormhole is a fork of Omni. Okay, so it's basically the same thing as Omni. I'm not even sure really what the differences are, other than it's called Wormhole and it's on Bitcoin Cash, and I'm not sure if they're changing anything else. And I'm not an expert on Omni. I don't remember how it works. I never understood it in complete detail. So here's how the token on Wormhole works. So there's a Wormhole coin, I guess. It's called WHC. I'm not sure if they call it that, Wormhole Cash or Wormhole coin or whatever. And you don't need Wormhole coin for everything. You can send and receive tokens using this protocol without owning any Wormhole coin. You need the Wormhole coin for special things. You need Wormhole coin in order to create new tokens. You need Wormhole coin in order to execute smart contracts that are using, evidently, Wormhole's special smart contract language. You need Wormhole coin in order to send the same token to many different people. And so I think there are very thoughtful reasons why you need this token in these special cases. There's one so first of all, this answers the question. So it doesn't look like they're going to do an ICO. You can create as many new Wormhole tokens as you want to by burning Bitcoin Cash. So you can create some new ones. It's not like you got to give them money. You create it by burning Bitcoin Cash. This is a little bit annoying. I'd rather not burn Bitcoin Cash to get Wormhole coin. It's like a one-way ticket to Mars, as they say in the article. There's no going back. Also, it takes 1 Bitcoin Cash according to this article. So 1 Bitcoin Cash is actually quite a lot. So that means normal people are probably not going to be, no one's going to burn, currently Bitcoin Cash is worth whatever it is, $800 or something. Well, $800 is more than what a casual user is going to do. So casual users are not going to spend, $800 to create Wormhole coin. So what the implications of this are basically that there's an onboarding problem for creating tokens. So in order to create a token, you have to have Wormhole coin. Where the hell do you get that? I mean, there's already an onboarding problem for Bitcoin Cash that is now going to be even worse for these people, because not only do you have to have Bitcoin Cash, you also have to have Wormhole coin, which is strictly harder to acquire. I mean, there are just fewer exchanges that support it. The Coinbase credit card widget does not support Wormhole coin. So how the hell do the users get this stuff to be able to, to create tokens? I'm not sure. But there's an additional onboarding challenge there. So the way we would probably solve this as a business, if we decided to use Wormhole coin or Wormhole, the protocol, to allow our users to create tokens, we'd probably just have to, what we would do is we would manage the Wormhole coin ourselves, and then we would just charge a fee for creating a new token. That's probably what we'd end up doing. And we'd have to do it in such a way that we're not an exchange, because for legal reasons, we don't want to be an exchange. We would just handle the burden of creating the token for them, which has a fee or whatever, which we pay. And then we charge them some fixed fee, say $5 or something like that, to create a new token. So I think it's workable, but it's just worth noting that it'd be really better if there just wasn't this extra token. I mean, it just seems kind of logically pointless to me that there's an extra token here, especially because you create it by burning it or whatever. But in any case, it's still, I don't mean to be too negative on this. I'm going to research both Omni and Wormhole in greater detail and have a better understanding of how it works and everything like that, so I have a more sophisticated opinion. And it certainly sounds like Bitmain and CoinEx are moving forward with this. And so there's a very good chance this will become the standard, and it sounds perfectly fine to me except for the weirdness around this coin. But it's not that weird. It's not as bad as it could be. It's not a stupid ICO, okay? The way it works seems to make logical sense based on what I'm reading in this article. So yeah, this is a cool option, and I'm excited to see this work from Bitmain about this protocol, and I look forward to seeing this integrated in CoinEx. And meanwhile, we'll be researching this sort of as a company, which basically means I'm just going to try to actually understand it in detail and try to figure out what it would entail for us to actually implement this, both at a technical level and at sort of whether there's any legal concerns about implementing something like this into our software. So yeah, so two great articles in the past day here on yours. So yeah, I'll keep covering all this type of subjects that sort of revolve around the money button leading up to and during and after the launch of the money button. So thank you for watching.